Welcome to Stanford University. This is the 101st edition of the Big Spike coming your way as the California Golden Bears travel south to Naples Pavilion to take on the Stanford Cardinal. Nia Crittenden and Max Agrest bring you the action from tonight's meeting here on ACC Network Extra. The Bears rolling into town 7-19 on the season, 4-12 in ACC play. They're trying to break a 3-match losing streak where they dropped 3 straight matches to AVCA top 15 ranked teams. The ACC is tough. Don't let that record fool you. There is no backing down for the Bears. And on the other side of the net, the number 5 ranked Stanford Cardinal comes in riding a 9-match winning streak against these Bay Area rivals, part of an 86-12 all-time dominance in the series, 23-4 overall, 14-2 in ACC play. Stanford split last week's matchups, upsetting number 3 Pitt in a 5-set instant classic that allowed them to claim sole possession of first place in the ACC before falling back to a 3-way tie following the 3-1 loss against number 10 SMU. So a lot on the line here as we go into the last week and a half of the season.
It's the end of the season, and for Stanford and for the Cardinal, they are looking ahead to postseason play in the tournament. So a matchup like today, ending it off facing Cal, their crosstown rival, is going to be really important for both teams in this matchup.
Popescu gets us started in the middle attack there by Sayer, getting the offense started for Stanford. And getting a hot start on either side is going to be huge. And on the overpass, it is going to be a point for Cal. And we were talking about this in pregame. Cal, they can either do really well in some of these funky plays, or it can kind of start to put them behind the 8 ball early on, getting a little bit of a lucky bounce in that situation.
And what we also talked about in pregame was for them having that hot start and really coming aggressively against their opponent. It really changes the tide of the matchup.
And for Stanford, getting the first point, by the way, Elia Rubin. Rubin coming off 11-kill performance against SMU. And in that matchup, you just felt like you wanted to keep feeding Rubin. At the end of the night, she had 28 total attempts, and it just felt like she didn't get enough looks.
Rubin is one of the leaders on the Cardinal squad and someone that her team looks to really push points, especially on the offense. So it's something we can definitely expect tonight.
22nd ace of the year for Spencer Etzler, the freshman out of Coldwater, Ohio. She has been dominant in that black jersey. And the aggressive serve goes long. That's something that Stanford's okay with. They really try to put that pressure on the serve receive.
Yeah, and I think for them it is their strong suit, really trying to put a lot of, as you said, pressure on the serve receive, but also a lot of tempo on that ball. You see how aggressive they serve, and a lot of these very fast serves as well.
Sophia Johnson gets us started, right side over to Harvey, and that is the elevation showing its way. She hit that back line, but when you're able to fly up that high, the angles that you have in your back pocket are immense.
Harvey, she had 15 kills against Pitt. She is someone who, as we talked about, high-flying right side for this Cardinal team. And another missed serve there for the team, really putting a lot on these last couple of serves for the Cardinal.
Harvey with 4 service aces in that last matchup against SMU that led the team. And that was one of the best performances from the service line by a Stanford player in the last, I don't know how long. Going to the back line now, it's Natalie Lau, the senior setter in the back row.
Natalie Lau getting some time on the floor here. She came in Cal's last matchup, replacing Steerbu for part of that match. And so she is someone that we've seen time and time again throughout the season. You know, she came off of injury previously, and you see a lot more of her sister, Elise Lau, who comes in as a DS sub for the Bears.
Lizzie Andrew got that kill off the slide, and now it sends one of the most dangerous servers to the back line, and Elia Rubin leads the team with 35 aces. That's 3rd all-time in Stanford history. Going left side over to Blashaw, a diving save, and this one sent over the net. Good defense by the Bears. Going back-to-back, Blashaw blasts away into the back line, and that's 5-3 Stanford.
You know, right before you said that, I was going to go with that. Blast off every time. I love whenever I hear that, and that's what we saw with that swing. She just goes after it.
Blashaw coming off a career high 2 games ago with 20 kills as well as 4 blocks. And that upset against number 3 Pitt here at Maples. A little bit hectic. This one sent into the back line by Andrew. And now going middle on the other side, that was a hit by Hayden. 7-7, and the point over to the Bears. Blasov a little too long on that strike.
Well, they're going to challenge that play. Blasov is confident that she got a touch on that swing that went long down the line and out. So confident that she got a touch on the block here, so we'll see after review.
Man, it feels like the pace early on, it seems like both sides can't really get their feet settled.
Both sides right now, it's really just fast and aggressive, and I think what you're saying, you have two of these teams that are coming off of, as you mentioned, a losing streak for the Bears, but also dropping that match to SMU was really tough for Stanford. And when we think about the NCAA tournament, you think about postseason play, this is the time where, as I always say, foot is on the gas. So dropping that match, I know for Stanford, it makes you have to go back and really think about how we're going to show up in the selection show and in the tournament, because who knows, you may face them again.
Absolutely, the ACC, one of the toughest divisions in all of college sports. And as you take a look at the top of the standings right now, 3 teams with identical ACC records, 14-12 each for Stanford, Louisville, Pitt. And as you look towards the end, you go to Cal on the 23rd, and you play Georgia Tech for your last match here at home, and then you go out to Louisville on the 29th. And that's going to be a top 10 matchup between 2 ACC teams, and that could be for the crown.
It's funny, you know, when we think of the ACC and we think of postseason play, so many of these matches in this last month of conference play, these are the teams that you're going to be facing each other in the tournament. So this is actual preparation for what's to come.
Yeah, you might be on the other side of the bracket, but you can tell every single person at the top, whether it's Stanford, Louisville, SMU, North Carolina, whoever it is, if you're expecting to face these folks in the Final Four, in the finals, in the national championship, you're going out here and you're getting test runs against these folks.
The call is reversed, so that point will go to Stanford. Blasov will get that kill. I knew she was so confident when she came off, and it's always harder for the refs. You can hear it when you're on the floor, and as a player, you go up and you know when you hear the snap of the ball hitting some fingers on the other side.
And 2 missed challenges for Kevin Hanley in his 9th year here last time around. And I learned something new. The challenges reset in the 5th set if you get there. Trying to go to the slide on the right side for Hayden. And now force-feeding Blasov. This one into the back row, dug up. Going to the left pin for Desjardins. And it is the Blasov show early on. They are force-feeding the sophomore as much as she can handle. And that's paid her. Julia Blasov, the redshirt sophomore out of Carlsbad, California, has been one of the forte pieces in the latter part of the season for the Cardinals.
Not only that, but she is just so efficient when she goes up to hit. I mean, already 3 kills, no errors to start this match off.
And the long service runs by Elia Rubin is part of the success that has made Stanford so successful. Let's credit that one a service ace.
Play there for the Bears, just trying to gain their footing with a couple of unforced errors in that moment in the matchup.
And as the score is 8-3, Stanford takes the advantage early on, and that sends us to immediate timeout here on ACC Network Extra. The score 8-3 as Stanford takes the early advantage. And after the lucky early bounce from the California Golden Bears, it seems like all the momentum has gone the way of Stanford.
For the Cardinal, this is a team that if you blink, they are at 15 points. They move so quickly. And for the Bears, it's really about going back to the basics, trying to slow the game down a little bit. And what I mean by that is not playing so frantic, as I just talked about, trying to do things that you know aren't really there. And you know, for someone like Desjardins, she is someone that the Cal Bears and her team really looks to lead them on the offense. And she's the team's kill leader. But it's hard when you're in a moment where it feels like everyone on the floor is just playing with a lot of frantic energy, and you really have to figure out, how do I make this play better with every ball that I get?
And that also is all the credit in the world to Elia Rubin, because this has all been on her serving, and the aggressive ability and the nature of what she's able to provide from that back line really forces you into that mode. Back-to-back slides, and that is a point for Lizzie Andrew. Stanford loves to go with the slide to the middle.
A great slide from Stanford, but not only that, holding the block, and the block not even getting out to the line, so Andrew literally hitting on open net with no block in front of her. And that's just a tough one there for the Bears, and that's what I talked about with just playing frantic. Go back to the basics, take a breath, and just make sure you're watching the play in front of you.
For Jen Malcolm, the head coach of the Cal Bears, what do you think she was talking about in that break when she had to take the time out there?
I would have to assume what I'm talking about here, really figuring out, hey, how do we communicate with each other? How do we go back to doing the things that we know how to do that are good? How do we go back to making smart decisions in the play? If you go up to swing and you feel like the set's not there for you, it doesn't mean you want to just give them an easy ball. Try to put it in good spots, but also try not to swing where the ball is just sailing out of bounds or we're hitting into the net.
Michaela Hayden with the attacking error, and that'll send Rubin to the line as she continues this long run for Stanford. Going back to your best player and Michaela Hayden, and finally able to break the streak of Stanford. That breaks a 8-0 run.
Well, I love to see that connection. It's something I've been watching all season between Stierbu and Hayden on that slide. And so one thing that I really like, that last play, Hayden hits the ball out, but one thing that Stierbu always likes to do is go back to the player that made a mistake before, continue keeping their confidence up, and we saw that that was successful in the last play.
Going middle on the left side over to Andrew, and now this time it's Carbonara. You sets up left side, and it is the Blashoff show. Just showing off that high attacking ability.
Blashoff with that swing. We'll take a look here. I mean, she just goes up, and it literally is like she's also hitting with no block up. They're not able to get all the way out to the line, so she has a lot of space to take a big swing.
Coco Kirsch into the back line to get us started with the serve. Going to the back set on the slide once more. Picked up on defense by Stanford. Back over to Blashoff. A little late on that jump there. You going left pin again. Did she catch a finger? No. Blashoff finally with a little bit to slow her down.
Blashoff taking that swing, trying to find the high hands on that one. Doesn't work out in her favor. And for the Bears, a much needed point for them to continue trying to chip away at this Cardinal lead.
Blashoff, 9 total swings, 4 kills, hitting .333 early on. And they'll go to the other freshman, and that one goes wide right for Erica Sayer. Sayer 5th in hit percentage in the ACC, and those 2 young middles for Stanford are some of the best in the nation.
Some of the best in the nation, and Sayer, when this slide is on, it is on. And I've seen throughout the season those moments where she just goes after it, and that ball is landing right past the 10-foot line.
Hayden puts it into play. You left side. And odd cut shot of sorts there, but not a clean possession by Cal. One right side back on the slide. This one sent away. Great job there by Arissa Carbonara.
The Bears really coming back in these last couple of plays, just being in good spots, being scrappy. That tip from Blashoff, honestly a pretty good spot, but Carbonara able to get a hand on it and keep that play alive. And then you see Sayer coming back around for that slide attack, and Carbonara staying inside, reading really well to get a block on that last play.
That's there with the dig. They'll go left side, back over to Blashoff, and the point right back the way of Stanford, making it 13-7. And so Logan Parks had to lead the second set against SMU after having a pretty good performance, had 13 assists up to that point. She is third in the ACC in that category. But making the switch over to Taylor Yu now, you've had some playing experience as Yu has got the start in the past, but how does that change the Stanford offense?
Well, the Great block there from Sophie Scott for the Bears, but back to your point about you, it is something very different. They're two very different setters in the way that they play. And I talked a little bit about this earlier. Parks is someone that, goes up, and they're both aggressive, but aggressive in different ways. For you, I've noticed with the way that she likes to run her offense and set to her players, really textbook, steady in the way that she chooses where she wants to go with them.
I feel like the main difference I'm seeing here tonight is just it feels like the tempo is a bit different. And a really good job in the middle that time around. Sophie Scott back-to-back points for the Bears, and they're cutting their way back into this one, 13-9.
Yeah, and as you mentioned with her setting, it is something with the way that she lets the ball hang in the air just a little bit more. With Parks, you get a lot more of that speed, a lot more of finding those gaps in the block. And with you, she leaves some more space for the hitters, leaving that ball just a little bit higher.
Stierbu back line, getting us going. Going right back to the left side, and the tip shot is in. Kept it inside of play. Julia Blashoff continues to just make things happen. This will change the play up as she has to go to the back line to serve now.
Blashoff already with 6 kills in this first set. She is just moving right now on the offense.
And when you can put all that mustard on the ball in the serve, you got a pretty good spot on that back line as well. Catching some fingers on the way out, Ashley Lee with a good cut shot.
Ashley Lee has come in and has been so aggressive. Every ball she goes after, she gets a full approach and really just attacks it.
Lee coming from a line of volleyball players, both her parents playing volleyball, one indoor, one outdoor. Going in the middle on the quick attack this time around, and it's Erica Sayer making him pay. And even on that almost first tempo type of situation with the quick set up the middle, the set is different. It's not quite just bang, bang right there. You kind of got to work with the flow and get back into the rhythm of it.
And I think we're seeing that in general with this Cardinal team, as you mentioned, with Parks going out in that last matchup. They're all adjusting to a different style of the set. But so far, I mean, if we're looking, for the Cardinal and efficiency, doing okay right now. A couple of errors here and there, but success as we see Harvey finding space between the block on that last play.
And I think when you have just the plethora of different attackers that Stanford is able to send out there, it makes it a little bit easy. Even if one person isn't necessarily on the same page with you, you've got 4 or 5 different other attackers on the floor that are able to set you up and get you started.
But also that's just having good hitters, and good hitters know how to adjust.
Middle attack there by Andrew. And a great job on the other side, Sophie Scott. She has been doing a tremendous job early on. Only 29 kills going into this matchup. The player who has gone through so much, the Cal Hope Courage Award winner after having 4 knee injuries back here, and she is paying dividends.
Scott has dealt with so many injuries in her time, but with Sawyer Thompson on the Bears going down with an injury of her own, she's had a boot on for quite a few weeks now. Scott has had to step up in that space, and she's done really well with the time that she's been given.
And the adjustment on defense for the Bears needs to come in that line. Anytime Jordan Harvey goes up, that line is open. Attack going a little too long this time around, an attacking error by Ashley Lee.
Ashley Lee was looking for that touch there, but we're not going to challenge.
And Nia, we were just talking about a second ago. You blink and Stanford is up by 7. Cal came through. They continue to fight. They cut it down close, about 3 points. But then I look up at the board right now, and Stanford's up 8, and Cal's forced to take their second timeout here as it's 19-11.
Yeah, as I said, they are just a team that is so fast and so efficient. And you really don't have a lot of breathing room between plays. If you see when they go back to the service line, the moment that whistle is blown, they are on it, and they are serving tough and serving aggressive. So for another team, and a team like Cal that you're trying to also figure out your style of play, I always talk about this, it's a momentum shift, and you really want to try to control your side as much as possible, and that's why I said earlier about slowing the game down. You don't want to give the other team the advantage to be able to completely run the match, and that's what we're seeing right now.
So for Cal, what do they have to do to come back and slow that tempo down themselves?
It goes back to the basics, as I've said, but really going back on the pass, trying to get the ball, maybe that means getting the ball a little bit higher to your setter so that you can really decide where you want to go. And it doesn't mean running your offense extremely slow. Cal still likes to run their offense a little bit faster, but it really is about quality touches. And that means really, really good on the pass. You want to get your setter, obviously, a 4 pass. You want to be able to set everything. But really just try to get her in a zone that she can still try to get to multiple hitters on their offense.
Yeah, and with the changeup, you have Stierbu, the freshman, who's come over and take the starting spot. But then you also have Natalie Lau, the senior out of Brisbane, California. You've seen them switch off a few different times.
Yeah, and with them switching off, I mean, for the most part, as we've seen Stierbu throughout the season, she has been the consistent starting setter. And so the way that she runs the offense is obviously completely different than Lau. But with Lau coming in, that means what I just said on the other side with Stanford. With Cal, that means everyone has to adjust. It is a different style of play, and I think the same thing with Lau. She leaves a little bit more space with the way that she sets. She leaves the ball at some moments a little bit higher. And we see when she changes to try to adjust to the speed. And for Stierbu, same thing. Stierbu is a setter that really wants to put a lot of pace and a lot of tempo on the sets that she gives to her hitters.
Stierbu is in that front line. And for Stanford, it looks like the setter in is Logan Tusher. So Tusher coming in as the second setter in this case. Tusher only playing in 4 matches. She is in her first year here with the Cardinal indoor team, but she has been so great on the beach side. In 2025 in the MPSF Championship, she went 19-2 with her partner Chloe Hoffman. And as somebody who works a lot of beach volleyball, I've seen a lot of her game, and she can do all 3 elements of the game. And a nice answer there after the timeout by Peyton Desjardins.
A great swing for Desjardins. She goes up and has some space to turn that ball down the line over Tusher's hands and finds the backcourt.
And I think even more than just setting up your offense, it's about your block and how that is set up. The setter is a huge part of your block in that front line. And the serve here by Elise Lau coming in as that serving specialist. And Elia Rubin getting the 20th point for Stanford here as the Cardinal lead by 8.
We've been turning that ball off the hands of Stierbu. As you just talked about setters and how that can change and affect the block. And it always is a little bit harder if you have a setter that is a little bit smaller in that space. They leave a little bit more space sometimes for a swing.
Tusher, the 5'11 sophomore out of Tiburon, California. Her last matchup was against Syracuse. So that last time she touched the hardwood was, oh my goodness, I gotta try to read my notes and find that one, October 12th.
Wow, well, Rubin here just served an ace for the Cardinal as they push to try to close this set out so quickly.
That 8-0 run by Stanford was off the service of Rubin. Going to the right side on the slide, not great contact there by Hayden. And now the 7 on the other side of the net, and White and Blashoff didn't quite get a clean attack of her own. Out of system, left side, Blashoff off the hands. Force feeding their middle, and this one sent away. Whether it's on the attack or the block, Julia Blashoff is having herself a great first set.
Blashoff is doing it all right now. 6 kills, hitting 385, a block, and a few digs for her.
Former Gatorade Player of the Year out of California, as well as the Max Preps National Player of the Year. And you know, just happens to be a genius playing here at Stanford as well. Blashoff once again on that left side. Good defense there from the back line for Lau.
A big swing there for Desjardins. That ball coming in, hitting high off the top of the hands and deep. So for the Cardinal, really trying to get back in rhythm here is what I am seeing. We had a couple of those scrappy plays where the ball is kind of flying around and trying to figure out a way to score, and they did just that in that last play.
Cal's last matchup on the 16th versus number 3 Pitt, they were actually able to come out and steal the first set against Pitt, which was their first lost set to a non-ranked team since October 17th. And a lot of that was off the success of some long rallies, just getting these balls up and giving yourself an opportunity. And that has been the difference tonight. Not really any opportunities. And on the overpass, Lizzie Andrew just putting a pin in it.
And speaking of those opportunities, I would call that for that match, that was to the scrappiness of Cal. They were really everywhere on the defense in that first set. And I think for them tonight, we're kind of seeing some moments where some scrappy moments, but what I'm seeing that is a little bit different for this team is in the way that some of the hitters are going to approach the ball to hit. They're taking a little bit off right now from what I've seen as far as going up and being aggressive, except for Carbonara, and that's what I'm used to seeing from the freshman. That hit right there is what I saw over last week.
Carbonara cooking it up. She was the leader in kills in the last match against Pitt as she had 15 kills alongside 3 digs, 2 blocks.
And that is the energy they've been needing. Someone that I've seen that has come out to do that for the Bears a lot has usually been Ashley Lee. Like I said, she goes in and comes out aggressive. But for Carbonara, these last few weeks, she has been the one to help with steamrolling and getting that energy from her teammates.
Back set on the slide. This time the swing was by Sayer. And now another free ball. Going back once again, and the block by Carbonara.
Carbonara, in these last few plays, she's been doing so well. I'm watching her eyes. I'm watching how she is looking at the Cardinal and their offense. She's staying inside on the block. That's now her second block, making sure that she stays inside and doesn't go too far outside to the line.
And with Michaela Hayden in that back line, you need somebody to step up in that front row, and she has been that person. And let's see if that is a little bit of a momentum as Cal needs going in, as it is set point 24-15. Stanford with the advantage of 9, trying to put this one away early. Backline serve by Logan Tusher. And she keeps this one in play. Going middle. Not quite a clean attack there. Tusher setting up, right side slam, dunk. Jordan Harvey putting it straight down, and the first set goes the way of the card, 25-15.
And as you mentioned with Harvey, you do not want to give, that is one player you don't want to give that much line to because she is going to take it.
Stanford with the early advantage here in the big spike, and we'll take a timeout back on the other side of the break for the second set here on ACC Network Extra. First set goes the way of Stanford, 25-15, and the Cardinal had their foot on the gas the entire time. The aggression of Stanford and just really showing off they are angry about how that last matchup against SMU went.
Yeah, and I think for them, they really want to try to steamroll this team today. I mean, the speed in which that first set went, it was hard, I think, for Cal to even take a breath in some of those moments. We saw a couple of those momentum shifts with Cal trying to come back in, but a big part of that for them and a part of that struggle was the defense. I talked a little bit earlier about the blocking. We had some moments with the Bears with the freshman Carbonara on the outside where she had some good moments of reading, stepping in and getting some really big blocks against the Cardinal, but overall, for the most part, it felt like hitters like Blashoff and Harvey on Stanford were just hitting on open net. And I call that hitting on open net with no contest. Not really a touch on the block, no one in defense being able to get a hand on the ball and make a dig. So that's really, really tough for your team to compete when you aren't kind of showing up in those ways on the defense.
The rotation puts Logan Tusher in, so this is the first time she's playing back-to-back sets. And the attack starting for the Bears goes too long. First point goes to the Cardinal.
I think also a part of that for the Cardinal as in moments when they are playing defense against this team, we know that Stanford is very good at going very fast.
We've seen it time and time again where players just come out and you blink an eye like we talked about many times, and that game has just left you. Erica Sayer with the block of her own. And between Erica Sayer and Lizzie Andrew, both these middles have been so great this year. I mean, we've talked about them offensively, but now Erica Sayer up to 113 blocks compared to the 114 of Lizzie Andrew.
And another block that she just added to the tally right there.
Can't keep track of it.
A big block for Sayer here out of the middle. That ball landing in the backcourt for the Bears, so not able to recover.
And I don't know how much experience you have with beach volleyball, but does serving change quite a bit between indoor and beach?
It definitely can. I mean, the court is obviously different on both, and I think it really just depends on what you're going for. With beach, there's two people, so it really, the dynamic of where you want to serve changes when you have a back row serve receive with 3 different people in a different size court.
Jordan Harvey going a little too wide. That gives the first point over to the Cal Bears. And now it's Francesca Popescu.
Popescu is one of the best servers on the Bears team. She is someone that they try to have put pressure on another team's serve receive.
And a really good job there by Blashoff going with the off speed. A good read on defense, but the pancake wasn't quite able to get there in time.
Blashoff, someone that we know can hit so aggressively, but she does a really great job of just using different, what I call shots or tools in the tool belt, where she switches it up. She knows how to control the ball with the off speed and really give the team a different look.
And Blashoff puts a rocket into that back line. Cal doing well to just get that ball over the net. Tusher left side, Rubin sent away.
That ball
Scott
there.
and Lee, oh my goodness.
A great block from those two. I saw on that play with Ruben going up, she went up not as aggressive and not as fast as normal. It was a little bit of a two-step where she was hesitant as she went up to hit that ball. And so they were able to close the block on her.
I think that also plays a factor into just changing up your setting in that situation. Obviously, we talked about Logan Parks being out. And now it's just trying to get the flow and the rhythm of a different setter. You got the start. Tusher has come in for the last few points. And the block strong on the right side. Harvey as well as Sayer just throwing up that roof.
A clamp on the block there. Desjardins really had nowhere to go with where that ball landed in their hands.
Lizzie Andrew back into the front line as it's Spencer Etzler back to the service area. Setting middle, sent away. Trying the right side this time over for Lee. And it's point Stanford.
Tough play there for the Bears. I mean, you push your setter as she has to run all the way into area 4 along the net to try to set that ball and make something happen. So obviously tough, not where she wanted that ball to go, and trying to make a play happen. Now that you have the middle hitting, but the block is on you, they're right there. And so that play for the Bears, tough here in the second set. We'll come back after this timeout.
During that timeout, the Stanford baseball team coming out, giving some free t-shirts out. You know, everybody loves a free t-shirt. Back when I was working on the other side of the table as a PA announcer, I mean, you could just feel the energy in Maple start to swell and explode the moment somebody yelled out t-shirt toss.
And getting the fans very excited as they continue to lead in the second set.
First timeout taken very early for the second straight set for the Bears as it's 6-2. Nearly getting answer, but a better job on the defensive side there by Blashoff. Left side, back row, great dig there by Etzler. It's Harvey who sends it over. Desjardins, dug up by Blashoff. Now Rubin! You talk about the ability of Jordan Harvey to get up and put that ball down vertically. She said, hey, everything you can do, I can do better.
Rubin going up. Look at her flying in to just take that ball sharp cross court right into Desjardins. So impressive.
Her hand at that point must be close to 8 feet. Like her head is over that 7'4" net. And with that wingspan, just, oh my goodness, what a beauty. And a beauty on the right side there. We've seen Jordan Harvey do it with power. Now this time just shoving and chiseling off the block.
An adjustment there, that set back to her. It's off the net a little bit. You can see her have to kind of change mid-air, knowing she can't really take a big swing on that ball. And what a play from her to use the hands, and so far off the net as well.
And I mean, it's kind of amazing. She jumps up so high every time she gets the ball that she almost has a second to think and say, hey, I can send this off the block.
As we called her Air Jordan in the past.
Going to the left side this time for Dominique Fils. And a block right down the middle. Great job there by Hayden and Lee.
I can see in a couple of these swings for Rubin, like that last one, she just really went after it. But the last couple of times she's been blocked, as you talked about, somewhat maybe adjustment with a new setter and trying to figure out that tempo, the ball maybe not getting quite out to her, and I think that's kind of what's happening here. She's kind of playing in the block right now a lot, and normally we see her able to turn high off the hands down the line.
Ellie Rubin has seen a lot during her time, one of the 2 seniors on the roster for Stanford. Tusher to the middle. Big swing by Andrew. Now on the off speed from the left side by O'Gara. Rubin, cut shot. And the answer by Dominique Fils. So Fils didn't play in that first set. Now she comes in and a couple good swings.
We've seen Fils do this in the last few matches where she will come in somewhat halfway through, but she is someone that can really go up and hammer the ball, as we just saw it. And you saw the determination on her face when she went up to hit that. She saw that she had the angle and she terminated it.
The transfer from Iowa, coming to the Bears in her first year. And that one just going a little too far right off the hand of Jordan Harvey. But finishing up my point about Fils, leads the team or leads the outside hitters on the team in blocks, 3rd in blocks on the team, and 3rd in kills as well. Just a nice, good 3rd option to go to. She can play so sound defensively as well as offensively.
Comes from a family of athletes. Her dad played college basketball. A big swing there from Ruben. That's the swing we're used to seeing from her.
That's that sonic boom you get when you hear it through the headphones and it almost shocks you.
So Harvey will go back to serve now, but Cal really hanging with the Cardinals right now. I know in the first set it was a little precarious, had some up and down moments, but here giving them a different look, really going after it on the offense as we see another point there and a big swing from Phils, and I like that she took that ball deep into the corner.
And what I'm noticing here after the timeout is just going back to the fundamentals. We talked about it time and time again. On the last few serve receives, Cal, they had 2 different players right at that serve receive. Nobody was on the same page. You take that timeout, you get yourself settled, you put in a nice player that you got from Iowa, and now you start to cut back into this one as it's 9-6 Stanford. Setting left side over to Ruben, and Ruben just having a heck of a showing here in the second.
And that's the set for her, that ball where it makes it into that midpoint, not all the way out past the pin, but right in the middle, and you see her, she gets that elevation. She's so athletic when she goes up, and for her, when she can go straight up and down, keeping her shoulders in line with the blockers in front of her, she finds so much space on the floor.
And Ruben, who's part of that 8-0 run on the serve receive, won't get another opportunity to serve, as it was a terrific job there by Michaela Hayden. Going back to the offense there for Stanford as Logan Chusher comes in for this second straight set. So she's played 6 sets and now her indoor career. I think she's starting to get a little more comfortable with the players that she has on the court and really just getting a touch on how they want it set up. This one a little bit slow, and that's a kill. Good job there by Lizzie Andrew, just being able to adjust and poke it over the net.
A great tip by Andrew, and she will stop Hayden's service run. Hayden, before leaving the court, she's second on the team in aces. So she is someone that they also look to try to really push tempo on the serve. And you want to try to do that as much as you can against this team.
Coco Kirsch coming as the defensive specialist and serve specialist. Left side, a quick attack there for Carbonara.
Smart spot there from Blashoff. She goes up. Could have tried to tip that off of the hands, but she sees there's open space in the middle of the court. She's looking at the defense and seeing that no one is going to be there. Just so smart from her.
8 kills already for Blashoff alongside 5 digs. She is on double alert and watch already.
And so efficient, hitting 368.
12-7, the attack from the middle. That one was Scott. And now it's Blashoff with an answer. Back over to Scott, almost with a little bit of a skyhook there. And Blashoff powers through the 2 blockers. 13-7 card.
One thing we're seeing a lot from the Cardinals, from all of the pin hitters right now, these really aggressive high push tips on the side of the block, through the block. They're doing that a lot, and I think for the Bears, that is also something to take in from on your defense. Don't leave seams. It's obviously different if they get the top of your fingers. You can't always control that, but don't leave them so much space to be able to play in the arms and in the block in the way that they are.
On the slide, Sayer goes wide right. Point goes over to Cal. And yeah, but if you want to go glass half full, your block's getting there this time around. In the first, I mean, the block wasn't necessarily getting to this spot, a lot of open shots, so now you're slowly getting back into this one, and at this point, by the third, they'll have everything together, right?
That should be in the plan for Cal, but really making those adjustments, and we're seeing that already, as you mentioned, in this set.
Maria Stirbu back to serve, so the setter will be in the back line here for Cal. Sayer with the big hit off the block. And Cal doing a good job with the out-of-system attack there. Blashoff off the fingertips. A diving save once more.
Johnson with that save. Multiple huge saves for her in that play, but an unfortunate error that will go to the Cardinal.
Johnson is part of the reason why Cal has had so many great rallies this year. Seems like every single time you tune into a Cal matchup, they just seem to have a rally that makes you gasp.
She's had a couple of accolades so far this season. She's had ACC Defensive Player of the Week accolades, 346 digs on the season, and actually now more, added at least 4 more now in this matchup. So someone who is really the backbone of that Cal Bears defense.
Cal taking a timeout as it is 15-8. They did not like that miscommunication between their setter and their offense, so they have to burn their second here in the second set. And for Cal, it seems like they got off to a little bit of a slow start, which is uncharacteristic of what they've been doing this year. But they've started to dot their I's, cross their T's, and they're looking a bit better here.
A little bit, but still a little too many unforced errors. And as I said, there have been some moments where they have slowed the gameplay down and they're really being intentional on their side. But we have those moments of the unforced errors, and what I've talked about with them is really getting to those moments where you know that the play's a little bit off. How can I make this better? And that really goes to, we call it like every touch. Okay, that first pass wasn't great. What am I gonna do on this second ball here? What am I gonna do on the third ball? And with a team like Stanford, you really don't want to give them, if you can help it, easy points and easy balls. You don't want to give them a free ball because they're gonna come back aggressive and very, very fast.
That has been the game plan of Stanford all year long, whether it's the very first match of the year as they took down number 16 Florida out in Nebraska, or whether it's this fourth to last matchup of this season and the big spike between the Cal Bears and the Stanford Cardinal. This team, it doesn't matter the faces you put into the lineup, it's the system. And Kevin Hambley, after getting his 400th career win against number 3 Pitt, I mean, he's not a businessman, he's a businessman.
It definitely is that system, and as you've said, anyone that they sub in, they figure out how to adjust, and they are in it, and everyone is on the same page. That is a team that's bought in.
And not very many transfers, if any, for Stanford. They come and they develop their talent. And that is part of the reason why everybody is so bought in. Blasov couldn't quite get out of the way. A little car crash between her and Etzler as the point goes to count. And they've taken every point after the timeout up to this point.
They have. It's a tough play there and a little bit of a funny ball. And you see Blasov laughing about that, getting pushed out of the way by your libero. It happens to everyone at some point. You either get pushed by the setter or you get pushed by the libero when you're in the way of the ball they're trying to get to.
And the stark height difference is always pretty funny to see as well. Popescu back in the back line. Tusher on the slide, and that is great communication as Erica Sayer puts that one in the back corner.
A huge swing there for Sayer as she goes in. And as we talked about the system, I mean, every setter that we've seen for the Cardinal that comes in, once they get some time to adjust, I mean, they are just running that offense. It's like a machine. Yeah,
the tempo continues to speed up as Tusher gets more comfortable in the system here. And off the service error, it is 16-10.
So for both of these teams right now, as we've seen some differences here, as we've said, on the service, even on the defense, but pretty even at this moment, even with their blocks. And Cal actually leading with 6 blocks to Stanford's 5.
Going left side over to Rubin, and Rubin buries it away in that back corner. That is what she does better than anybody in the nation. That pinpoint accuracy to just kiss that corner of death.
And as I was just talking about blocks, although Cal is leading, still leaving a lot of space. I said that earlier, that no contest swinging. The fact that she's able to swing and have no one there on the block or on the back row defense speaks to the speed.
Lee returned in the back row. And now back-to-back kills by Ellie Rubin. Rubin now up to 7 kills, above 300. And the offensive serving, or the offensive showing, I should say, between Blasov and Rubin has been, I mean, that's the 1-2 punch of Stanford.
I was just going to say, she's trying to play catch-up to Blasov right now and getting closer and closer each play.
You know what's going to happen, right? The middles are going to start just going on a run.
A great swing there from Phils, really bringing it back for this Cal's offense. And pushing points here. They're trying to chip away at this lead from the Cardinal.
And it seems like when you get into the point of the rotation for Cal, when Phils is on that left side pin, it really just opens up more options offensively for you.
Not only that, but Phils is hot right now. She has no errors. She's only been set 4 times and has 3 kills. So she's one of those players that you want to continue to go to. You want to keep feeding her while she's on, and they have no answer yet for her on the defense.
Natalie Lau, the setter, will be in the back line. Blasov bump set left side, Rubin. Nice dig there by Popescu. Tusher right side, having to reach back for his Harvey. Sent back on the block. Rubin keeps it in play.
Look at where they put that ball. It's out of system. And normally, for most people, you think, okay, we're going to send that ball outside, get it closer to the pin and high. No, they put that out-of-system ball straight up, almost in the middle of the court, and she goes and gets it.
Just flying through the air to send that ball away. Setting to the left side. And there's a nice answer by Michaela Hayden. Seems like any time Cal has really needed to get a point, they've either gone to Hayden or they've gone to Phils up to this point.
Hayden, also somebody that is a bright spot for the Cal Bears offense. She's second on the team in kills, and actually in the middle of the season was trading back and forth with Jardin for the kills leader.
Service error from the back line for Dominic Phils. That is her 20th of the year, and the score balloons up to 8 as it is 20-12. Aaliyah Rubin, the most dangerous threat in the Cardinal uniform, out to that back line now and nearly getting an ace. This one sent over. Good job even being able to get an attack off. Left side, cocked back and swing. That was taken by Carbonara. And it's blast shove. Oh my goodness.
So fast and so efficient. She goes and gets that ball. It's barely clearing the tape. She has to reach in and try to get that pass out to her setter. And you see her take a couple steps back. Not a full approach either, and just goes right back up and hammers that ball between the block.
Cocked back like a shotgun and just sprays it. And the ace there by Rubin from the back line.
Rubin pushing points on all facets right now. That is her second ace of the night. And she is also somebody that is dangerous on that service line.
Service aces has been her forte. Up to 142. That is third all-time on the Stanford Cardinal. She got a good job on the defense side with Diggs as well. As Blashoff from that near side pin just collecting hands as that ball goes out of play. 23-12 card.
Blashoff already in double-digit kills here. Taking a big swing off of the top of the hands there in the outside hand of that Cal block.
Leaders in kills, it's Blashoff with 11, Rubin with 8, Harvey 5, Andrew 4, and then it's Hayden with 3. Nearly another service ace.
And this is why serving is so important. We've seen in these last 4 points, Cal has not been able to run their offense almost at all. The serves are putting so much pressure on them, they can't get the ball in a place where they can even set in tempo.
And the slide as Lizzie Andrew gets that 24th point. And just like that, up one set, it's set point for the card, 24-12. Another aggressive serve taken by Rubin. This time the middle attack by Hayden. Blashoff down the middle of the floor, and Stanford leads 2-0, 25-12 in the second.
What an impressive swing. Your setter is running all the way off of the court into the other side of the floor and gets that ball back to you and just puts it high. Again, as I said, in the middle. Their footwork is so good from the Cardinal, both her and Rubin. They're just so athletic and so efficient with the way that they get their feet to the ball and take a high swing every time they get a ball like that.
Stanford working their frustration off after coming off that loss against SMU, and they lead it 2-0 going into the third here in this best of 5 for Maples Pavilion. 25-15, 25-12. It has been Stanford running away with it here in this 101st edition of the Big Spike. Stanford leads the all-time record 87-13, and they've done it in a little bit of a different way tonight. They started out with Taylor Yu stepping in for the injured Logan Parts, and then coming in that second set and taking over from that point forward has been Logan Tusher.
Tusher has stepped in, and one thing that I find so interesting, we talked about this in the last set, the fact that Coach Hambly can rotate multiple setters and they can come in and really try to run this offense, and their hitters able to adjust to every setter that they have. I find that to be something so impressive, but not only that, so important as we get into the postseason. Postseason play is so unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to happen, and this is something that is going to be good practice for them to decide, hey, maybe we have to make a change at some point in a match in the NCAA tournament. We need to be able to have our other setters come in and be able to run the offense, and we're seeing that tonight.
On the overpass, set back over. Now they go right side, cross court with the attack. And that one looked a little bit different, but the result stayed the same. Erica Sayer with another point under her belt.
So for the Bears, they're the this matchup for them in this third set is going to really be about trying to slow down the Cardinal. We saw in the last 2 sets, once they get going, there is no stopping them, and they have been very difficult to handle.
Tusher with another serve. This is her first time going back to back to back with sets.
So they're looking for a touch there, and Ashley Lee really confident on that play. Don't know if they're going to challenge it. They're not, so they're going to move on to the next point.
And the insertion of Logan Tusher has been huge up to this point. Lee was doing a good job getting everything started off, but just the speed and the tempo in which she's playing at is so different. And then when you partner that with the attacking errors of Cal up to this point, hitting 0-14, I mean, it's just a little bit of a rough showing here.
A tough showing for the Bears. I think these last couple of swings, it's tough when you're really out of system and the ball is really far off the net. You're trying to find space. You know you have a big block in front of you, and we saw that from a couple of those errors. They're really trying to aim for the high hands, but missing. But Lee switches it up there and decides to tip that ball. Feels like she can't take a swing, and tips in a good spot. And that's always important. I talked about that earlier. Just try to keep that ball at least in. If you're not going to be able to be aggressive in going after it, do something that is going to either throw off the demons on the other side or try to find space to score on things that are off speed.
Sophie Scott getting us started from the service line. A one-handed set there sent away. Blashoff put a lot of power there. And now in the golden opportunity, they go over to Phils. Blashoff just having to throw that ball back once more. Back-to-back free bowls, and then eventually it's Stanford coming away with the point 4-1.
That is a tough, unforced error there from the team. That ball flying, not really knowing where to go in that play. Not sure who to set, and just a little bit of them being discombobulated there.
A change-up here in the front line for Cal as Ashley Woodruff comes in for the first time. The middle blocker, and that one just looked like it came off the hand. Awfully strange service error there by Julia Blashoff.
Blashoff not happy about that serve. Something rare we have not seen really from her with the miss so far outside of the pin here, but that point will go back to Cal and snap a little bit of that run that Stanford was about to go on, especially if that serve was in.
You know what it was? It was the ribbon in her hair. She rips it out after the play. Elia Rubin ripping one in the back row. A bump set, and the cross-court cut shot going a little too far wide right for Dominique Fields.
For both pin hitters right now for Cal, really taking swings at the ball, but I want to see them get on top of the ball right now. You can kind of see where they're swinging from. They're swinging a little bit behind themselves, that ball just kind of sailing straight out and not really able to use the hands on the block.
Yeah, it feels like their angles are just slightly off by a couple degrees up to this point. Setting up the left side, this one, they had the angle there, but it just happened that 2 different Stanford players were right there to send it away. Jordan and Harvey, one of the pair to get the block.
Well, Harvey did a really great job going in and taking away that line and then also diving back in with the hands to close the seam on that last play.
Spencer Etzler starting us off. This time with the off-speed, good read by Tusher. Harvey off the block. Setting middle, Steerbu. And that is a good answer there. You insert Ashley Woodruff for a reason, and she's able to get her first point of this set as it is 6-3.
Ashley Woodruff, you've seen her a little bit. She came in at the end of the match last week. I've seen her a little bit here and there, but really stepping in, scoring a point for the Bears, a much needed point against the Cardinal.
A 2-time MVP back over at Masters School, the Scottsdale, New York native. Across the country playing in this rivalry matchup.
Transfer from Stony Brook. Different look to be out here in California coming from there too.
Point goes over to Stanford as everything just seems like it is in the direction of the tree. 7-3.
Huge swing there for the Cardinal as Harvey goes back to serve now.
And Harvey had a ton of success against SMU in the service department. And now it's just really getting everybody consistently on the same page as you go into playoff play. Andrew on the slide, and it looks like a net violation of sorts on the Bears.
Oh, an unfortunate net violation too. That play was pretty scrappy. Both teams playing defense and really keeping each other on their toes. It's always tough to lose a point off of the net when the play is still ongoing that way.
And now, as we get to this point in the season, this is going to be the fourth, so 3 more matches remaining after this one. Is a really good job by Ashley Rhoda, able to get her 4th kill of the year on that swing. But it's not necessarily winning, which obviously is important. It's how you're winning up to this point. And Stanford is doing it in a dominant fashion, as you expect to see.
Something that you definitely want to see, as you said, at this point in the season, this sets the tone for the tournament. This last, as you said, week and a half of matches going into the end of November. This is what you want to see, where you're at, where your development is with your players, how is the connection on the floor with your team, because that is going to be so important as they get ready to face the tournament. We talked about it earlier with ACC matchups. So many of those teams are going to be in the tournament, and not only that, those are teams that are hoping to push to the Final Four. So you're going to have tough matchups. You're going to have moments where they might face each other again, and being able to close out these matches, at least for the Cardinal, playing a team that for them is unranked, you want to be able to do that at a high level because you're going to have some difficult matchups in the next few weeks.
6 ACC teams are in the AVCA top 25. And guess what? The ACC has the most teams in the top 10 of the NCAA Division I volleyball RPI.
So season is literally preparing them for the tournament.
Iron sharpens iron. And that is something we've seen a bit from the Bears, as they are a team that has no quit in them, but for Stanford, it just seems like they are just washing them over up to this point.
It's been tough for the Bears to come back, especially on the defense. They've had some moments, but it's about the consistency. And so far, that has been very difficult for them in this matchup, is consistently being able to pass the ball well, consistently being in the right spots on the defense.
Coco Kirsch from the starting line. Can't quite keep that one in play. Cal gets their 6 point, 10-6. And something I expect to see a lot more of is some of that scrappiness we were talking about. This is an incredibly scrappy team in Cal. We've seen a couple good rallies up to this point, but it just seems like they haven't necessarily been on the same page tonight.
And it's very difficult when you're facing a team like Stanford. We talked about the speed in which they run their offense. They're doing such a good job of moving that ball around, and that speed is difficult. When you're a blocker and you're up, trying to make sure you get up and get a touch on the block, close the seam with a team like Stanford, it's not easy to do.
Finding the angle there is Phils. And the ball jousted at the net, won by Stanford. Going up with the attack this time is Logan Tusher. You can see her beach volleyball skills coming into play that time. Setting left side over to Blashoff, into the block once more.
A couple good touches on the block there from Cal, getting a hand on it. That's what I talked about earlier, of wanting to see more of that and not allowing Blashoff to just literally blast off and hit on open net and hit space on the floor. But we'll get an answer there from Sayre as she comes back with a swing of her own.
That slide works to perfection. Erica Sayre not having necessarily all the offensive success she'd like, hitting in the negative up to this point with 4 kills. But more than anything, I asked for a rally and I got one, huh?
It always happens when we're talking about it. We jinx sometimes.
That's exactly how it goes. Sometimes you use your powers for evil and sometimes you use it for good. Dominique Phils getting another kill under her belt. She now has 4.
So we're seeing a new face coming in to serve.
Grace Agoli, the redshirt freshman out of Atlanta, Georgia. Redshirted last year due to injury, but this is a player with an extreme amount of talent. The Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year, a 3-time Georgia Player of the Year.
She is someone that, as you mentioned, such a good player, and just unfortunately because of injury hasn't had the time on the floor and the career that she is hoping for. But when she gets to come in, sometimes I've seen her earlier this season, she's come in and immediately started scoring points, hitting, and I know that's difficult. You have both her and Sophie Scott, both with their knee braces on, and you know, battling through injury is just so difficult, especially in a game like this.
Blashoff got the point off the block, and she'll get us started for the service line, but a nice answer there by the junior out of Diamond Bar, California, and Ashley Lee.
Ashley Lee bringing some energy there on the floor. She goes up to take a big swing, and I've seen her take some huge swings against other top 10 teams over the last month of season.
Francesca Popescu, the defensive specialist, starting there. Elia Rubin, oh my goodness, dropping the hammer, and that is a kill for the leader of the card.
Just so fast at how she gets on top of the ball when she goes to swing. It's so impressive.
So with that kill, Elia Rubin has double digits with 10 kills, pairing alongside her 15 digs. That is another double-double, her 8th of the season. On the left side, and the block was too strong there. Phil's unable to get anything going through that. I mean, just the tree line of Stanford.
A really tough block on her. That's also something, too, with your players and your teammates playing defense, and especially that block coverage, just taking a little bit of a step up to try to get a hand on that ball.
Blashev also has a double-double. This is her 2nd of the season.
Another point there for Woodruff. She has come in and just lighting it up in the middle for the Bears, something that they've really needed. And now we have Carbonara back on the floor as well, another powerhouse that the Bears have needed in this moment too.
Carbonara had a really strong first set, got a little quiet in the second. She's currently only sitting on 1 kill, but it's just the pressure that she's been able to bring from that pin that has been really effective for the Bears.
She's also done a really good job when she can of getting in a good spot on the block. As I just talked about, her scoring points and the Bears needing that, she comes in and does exactly that. But if you notice, she's done a really good job. I know she left some space with Harvey, who's come in and hit really hard line. And Harvey's a player where she's going to get those moments. She's going to get those points. But for what I've seen so far with Carbonara, she's done a really good job of staying in and at least slowing the ball down in some of these plays.
Desjardins got us started with the serve, and Elia Rubin just pulling every single trick out of her bag at this point, rolls it down the tape.
I mean, she even looked shocked that that actually landed in. It's such a good spot, but if it wouldn't have hit the tape, that ball might have been out. So the tape making that land in that corner, I mean, just what a play there from Rubin.
Put a little English on the ball in the backspin, kept that one in, as it's 15-10, Stanford with the advantage going into the media timeout here in the 3rd. It looked like Cam here from Maples Pavilion. We got Mr. Freeze up here as the tallest of all the officials tonight. Oh my goodness. The up ref getting some love from the production crew here from Maples. And extending the lead here is Jordan Harvey. And Harvey with an ace.
And an ace from Harvey. I was just going to say that the energy in the gym right now, just excited for the Cardinal here as they are leading, and Harvey coming out of that timeout to push an ace.
Harvey with 31 aces on the year. That is 2nd on the team. Tusher far side, over to Rubin. And a really good job keeping that one up in play for the Bears defense. Going back over to Rubin. Rubin, did she catch a hand? No. Couldn't quite collect any high hands on the way out there.
No touch on that ball, and you saw that on her face. She did try to go for it there, but no luck. And so that ball will now go back to Cal as they are trying to close this gap in the 3rd set.
And it's really been that far side pin hitter that Stanford has been force feeding, whether it's Rubin in that spot or Blashev. Now Andrew up the slide. Just another notch in her belt.
Haven't seen as much of Andrew in the last bit here, but she comes back around to take a swing. And
you know why?
Also someone so efficient.
Yeah, it's because she's so efficient with it. Every single time she touches the ball, it seems to be a kill. She's got 8 kills, hitting 571. So she hasn't necessarily touched it that much because every single time she touches it, it goes into the floor. And a service ace there by Rubin. She continues to put the pressure on. That is her 3rd of the match.
And that's 5 aces for the Cardinal to Cal Bears. No aces so far in the match. So a huge discrepancy and a big difference there on the aggression on the serve from both teams.
Timeout taken by the Cal Bears. That is their first here in the 3rd set as they trail 2-0. 18-11 is the current score. And we'll hit on this point again. The ACC is just such a gauntlet in the world of volleyball. You have teams like Stanford, Louisville, Pitt, SMU, North Carolina, Miami. You can even go as far down as Georgia Tech, who is a team that has been receiving votes, are in the top 25 this whole season. They're working together, and man, that selection show is going to be crazy.
I'm so excited for the selection show. It's going to be very interesting to see where everybody ends up, what the brackets will look like. The talent pool this season is insane. And these are going to be long, drawn-out, grueling matches. And of course, everyone says that every year with the tournament. but I really think, especially in those first and second rounds, we are going to see a lot of battles.
And if Stanford is able to bring this one back to Maples, they are so dominant here at home. 111-14 under Kevin Hambley here at home. He's got 222 wins in his 9th year here with the Cardinal. He's going to likely notch up his 401st win of his career. And man, the West runs through Palo Alto.
It really does. And that is what the Cardinal will be looking to do as they continue to push points here in this third set. I mean, the Cardinal, they're 25-2 at home in the last 2 seasons. So just talk about dominance there. They just do not lose here in Maples.
14-0 at home in 2024. He had a couple tough matchups against top 5 ranked teams here at home. And Stanford really just trying to close this one out with all the aggression and pressure as possible. And another point off of Rubin's serve as it's 19-11 now Stanford.
Tough play there for the Bears. I talked earlier about the unforced errors, but just a lot of those errors where it's just hard to get momentum going on your side when you can't complete a play.
Attack down the middle here for Scott. Now it's Blashoff into the block. Terrific job getting that one up by Tusher. Joust at the net, drops down. Stanford gets the point. Credit it over to Lizzie Andrew. I want to go back on that play as we get a replay here. That dig there by Tusher shows her skills and ability. Oh, we didn't get that part of the replay, unfortunately. But what she's able to do on the floor has been so impressive today. Coming in, she had to have the possibility of an idea that she might come in and play at some point, especially with Logan Parks out. Taylor Yu came and started. She's come in and taken over, but she's shown the ability to play defense, go up and block, serve. We even saw her swing with a different attack before. She's showing all of her beach skills on display here on the hardwood floor tonight.
And as you mentioned with Beach, I mean, that is someone who is a true all-around player. It's someone who knows how to do literally everything, and she's someone who really technically could play every position on the floor because of that experience. And that's what Beach can give you too, is just that all-around play and really, really great skill on the volleyball court.
Tusher collecting her first categories. I mean, she's played, but she hasn't had any statistical categories up to this point. So in her first real showing and opportunity, she's got 27 assists up to this point, has a dig right there on the one that we were talking about, has 1 total attack. Let's see if maybe she can get a kill there as well.
And they'll be looking for that as we're at 20-11 here in this third set for the Cardinal. And as we talked about earlier, they've just had their foot on the gas. They have been trying to close this match out so quickly, not giving Cal a ton of time to really figure out their side. And we've seen that in the play. The last few plays, some of those unforced errors, really not able to get in rhythm. And I think that's something that they're so good at doing, is really keeping the other team off kilter and not in rhythm.
And for Cal on the other side of the net, obviously there's a lot of pride to be playing for here. It is a rivalry matchup, and these two teams will meet up again over in Berkeley on the 23rd. That will be a 1 p.m. first serve. So as you kind of wrap this one up, I mean, it's a really tall task to try to get back into this one. But what can you do to try to set yourself up for success going into that matchup at home versus the Card next time?
Well, we know after this matchup, they will be going back to really watch film and figure out where they needed to be better here and try to make less errors. And I think that's really the key for this Cal Bears team. Try to be as efficient as possible and communicate on the floor and complete a lot of these plays.
Rubin with the dig in the back row. They'll set up Ipar Kurt as Kurt sends this one straight to Popescu.
That is what I was talking about. That last play is exactly what I mean from the Bears. They got touches, but they put the ball in good spots for each other to be able to make something else out of it. And because they were able to do that, that play with Phil's being able to get a hit out of the back row and run the offense is why they were successful to score that point.
And so now let's see if the Cal Bears can find some offensive success as Shirbu goes into the back line as she will be the server. So 3 attackers all across that front line for the Cal Bears up to this point, but unfortunately Shirbu wasn't able to get it over the net.
A tough one there. They had that momentum. You felt the energy from that last play, so always tough to miss a serve when you're trying to be aggressive and giving that point back to the Cardinal. So having some changes here on the floor for Stanford.
It looks like it'll be Melissa Kawa, the defensive specialist, a sophomore out of San Pedro, California. Went to that powerhouse in Mater Dei. Last time we saw Kawa who was in the matchup against Duke, where she was able to play a set. Former national championship winner in the high school level. Flying dig there by Coco Kirsch. Left side, off the block was Lee.
Almost a miscommunication there. They almost didn't pick that ball up from Lee. But a big swing, as we see from Kurt. And also, as we talked about earlier, Blashoff and Kurt, they have subbed in and out and switched off throughout the season. And you and I talked about this in the second set, and the fact that for the most part now, over the last month especially, Blashoff has really taken over that place. But Kurt, also somebody who's come in and had some really great matches throughout the season, and also a very effective pin hitter for the Cardinal.
Kurt, a 2025 preseason All-ACC selection. A U19 Euro MVP, back playing for a country in Turkey. Working off the block well that time on the right side was Arissa Carbonara. And while we have a moment here, we have a globalized game in volleyball now. You played overseas many years. What is the difference between European volleyball compared to United States volleyball?
Well, one of the things I would say, and I've talked about this a lot during my time playing, is really the fact that all the teams that I was on, we always had a few what they would call youth players that would move up onto our team. So we would have some girls who technically were maybe high school age, but they're getting reps with professional volleyball players in these big matchups. And so they come in with a lot of knowledge of the game, learning from so young.
Going down the middle, Sophie Scott really getting a lot of burn and having some success today. Some substitutions on the front line as well for Stanford as Sydney Duncan comes in. Played her last set against Duke. Has only played in 4 matches up to this point. Let's see if she can get another kill under her belt, but instead they'll feed the left side, and it's Kurt with another one, making it 23-14.
Continuing with Kurt, she played on Fenerbahce. That is a massive club in Turkey. So good. So many All-Americans and Olympians, even from the U.S., that have come out of that club team in Turkey and in the professional volleyball game.
Tusher from the service line. And now this one will be put over the net. Good clean opportunity, right side! And that's a kill from Zaria Queen. The 5'1" freshman out of Honolulu, Hawaii gets her first kill of the season.
You see the team so excited for her. I was with this team the last time she came in for the first time, and they had so much energy, and we're so excited for her to come onto the floor as one of their young players.
24-14, set and match point. They'll go left side. They'll go Kurt. And the Bears played some terrific defense. The block there by Sydney Duncan. Left side for Phil, sent away. Going back over to Phil's, into the block, and it's out of play. Off the hands of Zaria Queen. That is a young block between Sydney Duncan and Zaria Queen. And that is what you love to see. We were talking about the depth all across the board. You never know who's going to have to step up. And now you give some young players some more opportunities here. And you don't know how that's going to pay off going forward. It's still set in match point as Sophie Scott goes to the back line to start us off. Too long. The service error will give the 25th point to the Cardinal. And Stanford takes this 101st version of the Big Spike 3-0. 88-13, Stanford with the series record as they move to double digits, 10 straight victories in this rivalry matchup. And for the Cardinal, they did it exactly how you want it. Put your foot on the gas, not letting up a single time, and getting another victory. That is their 24th of the year. And for a brief moment, they will reclaim that first place spot in the ACC.
And not only did they close this out, but did it so efficiently. So many changes on the floor, different setters coming in, and still the Cardinal hit 361 in that third set and 312 for the match. So you're talking about a team that just has so many players in the tool belt for the Cardinal.
25-15, 25-12, 25-15. Stanford comes out and they get the victory here. Next time, you'll see them over at Cal on the 23rd before coming home for senior night on the 26th against Georgia Tech and closing out the regular season on the 29th at top-ranked Louisville. So, for Stanford, this has been a great time. Happy to bring you action all game long, all season long. Likely going to see some more playoff volleyball coming your way soon. But until then, For Nia Crittenden, for our entire production team here at Stanford, my name's Max Gress, bringing the coverage here on ACC Network Extra. Stanford with their 25th win of the year, and the card are rolling.